I'm Matt Richmond, your host, and today we have with us a former Port Huron High School graduate and also a professional actor, Chad Lindsay. Chad is going to be talking today with us about his career at Walt Disney World. Okay, welcome to the show today, Chad.
Thank you.
Okay, how did you get involved with acting?
It started out when I was probably I think I was a junior here, and my friend Shelly and other friends, I would say, kind of got me involved in drama through high school, and Mrs. Foxley was a drama teacher at the time. I think she still is, actually. She moved on and then she came back. And I just got involved. I auditioned and I was nervous, and I got up there and I opened my mouth and I was surprised, and I think they were surprised too. And so I played the part of Drake in that year's production of Annie. And from there, it just kind of led off, and I got into different things. I started getting into civic theater, and I got involved with the television studio while I was here, and so.
Okay, what kind of activities were you involved with in high school?
I was really involved a lot with the drama club. I was also involved in student council. I think the biggest, though, was probably the drama club at the time. I was vice president for a while. It was just a lot of fun. I really got involved. We did a lot of extracurricular things with that, as well as actual plays each year.
Was there any other roles you played in the plays that you were in?
I did Annie and South Pacific while I was at PH. I played Drake while I was in Annie, and then in South Pacific I played the professor, and I was also the understudy for Emile DeBeck.
I also played Drake, and this year Mrs. Foxley did
It's a great role, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, I understand that you designed the set for Annie in 1989.
Yeah, I'm an artist. I like to draw. In fact, that's part of the reason why I went down to Disney. And they needed a set, and I said, well, I can kind of come up with something, and Mrs. Foxley liked what I came up with, and we went for it.
Okay, tell us about your experience here at Channel 6 and also at college.
I came in here my senior year in the class. That's when Mrs. Foxley had transferred over here to teach the class, and that was just probably one of the greatest experiences in my life, as far as like learning all about TV and actually getting to go out and do like remotes, and I think as far as like speaking with people as well. And I grew up kind of a shy kid, and I think it kind of helped me get over being shy, and because it kind of forced me to have to talk to people and be on that type of a level. So I did that for my senior year, and then I came back when I was in college, and I interned here, and I worked all through, through college doing that, and it was great, a great experience doing that.
Okay, why did you decide to go to Florida?
I originally was looking into, like I said, I'm an artist, and I always had a love, for Disney. I've always liked Disney ever since I was a little child, and I liked animation. I really enjoyed Disney's animation. I think they probably do it the best. Although there are a lot of companies coming up that aren't that far behind Disney, I think they're still probably the king of animation. Mm-hmm. And I liked Disney, and I wanted to go down there and maybe possibly get into animation. So actually it was my neighbor at the time. We were sitting around one evening, and I was talking with her, and I said, well, let's just go to Florida, let's just do it. And I believe, if you don't ever waste time, you never know what's going to come tomorrow. Do things, and try to get the best out of life. So she said, okay, and we kind of looked at each other and were like, oh, I guess we're really going to do this. So a year later, we didn't just leave the next day, but we planned it, and a year later we both left and went down to Florida after I graduated from college here. And I got down there, and I was checking out the animation programs, and I had to have a job in the meantime, so I auditioned to get into entertainment, and I went from there.
So how did you get your job at Disney then?
I went through an audition process. I went to the casting center, and actually I guess it's Buena Vista down there. I would say Orlando, just to give a general location. On Disney property, they have what's called the casting center, and you go there, and that's where generally everybody goes to apply at Walt Disney World. They have well over 200 applicants a day actually go there. And I went there not knowing what exactly I had to do, and I saw a little flyer on the wall saying, come join in the fun in Disney entertainment and parades and stuff like that, and they had an audition date. And I figured, hey, it's kind of up my alley. I like to do theater. I did theater back home. Maybe I'll give this a try and before, I actually see where I'm going. And so I went and I auditioned, and before I know it, I was actually doing it. So.
What do you do there at Disney?
I am a character. I play the different characters in the park, as well as I'm a parade performer. I dance in the 3 o'clock parade every day, and occasionally I'll do the electrical parade at night.
Okay, what characters have you been or are you?
Well, probably the most characters that I do is Peter Pan, and I also do Chippendale as well.
Describe your typical day at Disney World.
Typical day for me starts out around, I get up around 6:15. It takes me about 20 minutes to get to work from where I live outside of Disney. I get there, I have to be there at 7 o'clock. I'll check in with, they call it the zoo. That's, I guess it's because they refer to, all the characters as being animals mostly and stuff. So our location, where our supervisors are and stuff, is called the zoo. Yeah, the character zoo. So I'll check in there and let them know that I'm here. And then I head over to costuming. And I'll get to costuming, and they'll have my costume all set up for whatever character I'm doing that day. I pick that up and I go to the locker room. And I'll put my costume on. And then from there I head to cosmetology, which is upstairs. We call it the upstairs wig room. And it's actually up in the park, but it's behind like shops and that, so you can't tell it's an actual, cosmetology. It looks like just, shops. So I go in there, and they will have wig, makeup, anything that you need to apply to you, to help you with that character. Now, doing Peter Pan, I don't wear a lot of makeup. I don't have to wear a lot, like as if I was either Mad Hatter, which is an actual 45-minute makeup process. Cinderella, all the women face characters, they obviously wear a lot more makeup, Right. I do wear a wig, however. Peter Pan has red hair, and to be consistent, everybody, all the Peters have to have red hair.
Right.
So I'll go up there, I'll get my wig and makeup, and I'll put that on, and then I'll ask them, okay, am I ready for show? The cosmetologist is up there, and they'll tell me, okay, you look great, you look good, and I'll come down, and then I have to be up in the castle. Peter Pan does a breakfast there. It's called King Stephen's Breakfast. And I have to be up in the castle, ready to meet and greet with all the guests at 8 o'clock. So from 8 to 10, about 10:15, I'm up in the castle meet and greeting with all the guests and meeting the children and asking them if they're going to have fun in the park, just talking with them and having a good time. And then at 10:15, the breakfast is pretty much over for the day. They start getting ready for lunch. I guess I have a little break in between there to, just get a drink or whatever I want to do. At 11:30, I have to be back up in the park. 11:30 to 12, I do another little meet and greet out anywhere in the park, wherever I want to that day with the guest. And then from 12 to about 2:30, I have what's lunch, or I have a break. And then about 2:30, I get ready for the 3 o'clock parade. I get my parade costume on. I have to be down there at my float at a certain time, ready to go. And then at 3 o'clock, I do the parade, and it's about a 45-minute parade through the park. Right. And then I go home after that. That's my day.
What's the best part of your job?
The best part, I think a lot of people would say it's the glamour of it, and it can be. I'm not going to say that that's not a nice part of the job. It really is exciting to meet superstars and to do a lot of television stuff, because it's always been a love of mine to do. But I think the real joy of it is meeting kids. You'd be surprised how many kids you get there that are just so excited to see you, and they've waited all their life to meet that character that they're seeing. We get a lot of Wish Kids, which is down in Disney. They have what's called Give Kids the World, and it's a lot of kids that are terminally ill, and their last wish is to come to Disney World. And it's really great to know that you fulfilled that dream for that child, that maybe has only anywhere from 6 months to a year to live. There was a neat incident that happened quite a few years back with one of our Snow Whites. She has done Snow White for 15 years. She's retired now. She no longer does Snow White. She actually has gone into the fairy godmother. And but she had a really good incident with a child. The child was in a coma and had came to visit her in the park. And she bent down to the child and was talking to her and just caressing her hand like this and just was talking to her. And the mother looked at her, and she was doing Snow White, and she looked at her and she said, "Snow White, my child can't hear you. She's in a coma." And she looked up at the mother and she said, "Oh, but she can hear me. She can hear me." And it was like, I think later that night, they were on the plane. They had left Disney and they're on the plane home. And the child woke up out of the coma. And her first words out of her mouth was, "I love Snow White."
Wow.
So you get moments like that, that really hits you here. And it really makes you appreciate what you're doing.
Okay, what's the worst part of your job?
Gee, this is kind of a hard one. I don't know. I guess it becomes a job like everything, and there's times where I just don't feel like getting up and going to work,
Right.
There's times when, you maybe want to sleep in an extra few hours, but, you got to get up, early. During a lot of the busy seasons, you can put in a lot of hours at Disney. I can work anywhere from a regular 40 hours to over probably 80 hours, and especially around Christmas time, because the entertainment is really booming at that time, and there's a lot of extra things that we do, especially a lot of TV broadcast. I would say that that's probably the hardest part, is just the fact that it just is, it's a job as well. I mean, I love it, but it becomes a job after a while, and
Right.
it's just like any other job, that there's just some days you just don't feel like getting up and going, But maybe actually thinking of the kids and stuff like that, I think that gives you a little more boost that, I got to go. There's that child there that's been waiting all of his life to see me, So.
What famous people have you met before?
I've met a lot of famous people. Some you could probably name, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I met those." A lot of people I see on the parade route as I'm going by in parade. They'll be sitting in a special section that we have for superstars and for guests, special guests like that. And I go by and I just shake their hand, or I'll meet their children. A lot of the superstars that come by come with their children and their families, and they just want to be treated as everybody else,
Right.
They want you to go up to their kids first. They don't want you to be oh, I know you, you're in this, and you're in this, and you're in this. They want to be treated like a normal, everyday person, So I guess I've met, I've met Michael Jackson, I've met Oprah Winfrey, Betty White, I've met Joey Lawrence, Tom Cruise, I've met Arnold Schwarzenegger, who else have I? Joan London, I work with her quite a bit on the parades. Regis and Kathy. Who else have I? Peebo Bryson, James Earl Jones, Robert Guillaume. I actually did a special with him. That he was pretty neat to meet. Ernie Sabalas. The list can go on and on, actually. Vanessa Williams, I did a convention in Minneapolis with Vanessa Williams. I think my two favorite people that I had met probably so far was Oprah Winfrey and Betty White. They just were so down to earth. They were just really great to work with. They treated you as equals, and they were just a lot of fun to work behind cameras when we were, in between takes.
Mm-hmm.
They just were really, really nice.
Okay, what other projects have you worked on?
I guess I've done at Disney. I've done a lot of extra television stuff. I do a lot with TV. I'm also down there. I'm kind of active, and I guess it's kind of a civic theater. It's a little above civic theater, I guess, because they actually, I don't want to say above, not better than, but it's just that they have spots where they actually pay people, and usually most of your civic theater stuff is done just by volunteer. So it's kind of in between professional theater and civic theater, I guess. I've done stuff with that. I'm going to be auditioning soon for another musical coming up here in the summer. That's just outside. It gives me kind of a break, something different than Disney.
Right.
So.
Okay, what is Blizzard Beach?
Blizzard Beach is one of 3 water parks that we have in Walt Disney World. We originally started out with River Country, which one of Blizzard Beach pools is about the size of River Country, so that gives you an idea of how big the 2 new parks are, which is Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon. We started out with River Country, and it went over really big, so they made Typhoon Lagoon. And Typhoon Lagoon went over extremely well, and they realized that the water parks were filling up with capacity every day, and not enough people were being allowed to let in because of capacity reasons, safety reasons. So they had to build a 3rd park, and they called it Blizzard Beach. And it's a water park. And the story behind it is that it was the one and only blizzard to ever hit Walt Disney World, and they were going to turn this place into a ski resort because of it. And then the Florida sun came out and started melting all the snow. And so from all the runoff of the snow and stuff, they realized they couldn't have a ski resort, so they decided to turn it into a water resort. So that's the story behind that.
Okay, how many people work for Disney?
Right now, I think we're nearing the 100,000 mark. I know that was Disney's goal, is to eventually get up to 100,000 people working in the, and not just in the Magic Kingdom, but throughout Walt Disney World wide. So.
Okay, how many characters are there? Or if you don't know, like, how many characters in your area?
Right now, well, there's lots of Disney characters. I don't exactly know the exact amount of Disney characters, but as far as character performers, in my park alone, the Magic Kingdom, there's probably about 1,000 characters, and that's just in the Magic Kingdom alone.
Okay, I understand you might get a chance to work in Japan.
Yeah, Disney has a, I guess you consider it kind of like a cross-U program. You go over to Tokyo Disneyland. You have to audition. It's an audition process, and it's for the face characters. You would audition here. Tokyo Disneyland sends representatives over I think it's like 2 or 3 times a year, and they hold auditions, and that's to send over like face characters like Peter Pan, Cinderella, Snow White. Basically, all your face characters go over, and they audition people here, and you go through. They'll line you up, and they look to see if you have a look, and then they'll pick from that, and then the people that they had picked that think that they might have that look, they'll put through a short dance routine, and then from there they decide more, and they try wigs on people and stuff to see if they have the look. And if you're picked, you go over for approximately 6 months, and you get to experience pretty much the whole Tokyo culture. They house you over there, and they give you what's called per diem for food and stuff. And the salary over there is fairly well. People come back pretty pleased once they get back with for only 6 months of work. And it's a really good experience. You go over there and you do the same exact thing that you would do in one of our parks here in the States. You meet and greet with the guests, and you're in their parades. So.
Okay, what other kinds of jobs are available at Disney?
I would say pretty much anything that you can dream of right now.
Really?
Any type of job. There's probably even some jobs that you've never even heard of that you go, oh wow, I didn't even realize there was a job like that. Disney is very huge. To give you an example, Disneyland can fit in the Magic Kingdom parking lot with 1,000 spaces left over. Wow. That's how huge the property is. Disney, I don't think will ever run out of room down in Orlando, Florida, down there. I just don't think they'll ever run out of room. Some of the space that they have down there, they have to preserve for like wildlife and, keep that up, but they have lots of space. And we're currently building our 4th park right now, which is called the Animal Kingdom, and I think that's to open in '98, I believe, sometime. And that's probably the largest park we're going to have.
Wow.
So.
What are your future plans?
Right now, it's to stick with Disney. I'm currently working on a comic strip. I found that down there, I'm not exactly sure once I looked into the animation process. I don't know if that's the route I want to go. It's really taken off for me in the entertainment industry down there. I don't know if exactly that's what I want to do. I'm not saying that I don't want to do that, but for right now, I think I want to stick with the entertainment aspect of Disney. And I've always admired cartoonists. I like reading the comics in the paper, and that's something I've always wanted to do as well, besides animation. So I think I might pick that up. I think I might pursue that a little, as well as Disney on the side. So.
Okay. What or who do you think helped you get to where you are today?
Definitely getting involved in drama in high school, and my friends, a lot of my friends through high school helped me. Like I said, I tended to be shy when I was younger, and they kind of got me out there and got me outgoing more and said, hey, come on, this is a lot of fun. A lot of teachers were involved. Miss Foxley, for one of them, she was an inspiration to me. I know that, her motto was always, never be afraid to ask. The least they could say is no. The worst they can say is no. And I truly believe that in life, if you go with that, it's true that never be afraid to ask anything, And she was a big inspiration in my life. I think she's an awesome teacher. I think that kids that have her for a teacher benefit far more.
I agree.
And just getting involved with with civic theater, and just doing anything that's outgoing. It doesn't necessarily even have to be anything that's theatrical, or theater related. Just getting outgoing and meeting people and stuff is really good. I know Nancy Osborne had a lot to do with that. I believe she's the drama coach or whatever, drama teacher over at SC4 now, and she had a lot to do with it too. So.
Okay. Is there any advice you would give to anyone interested in going into acting?
Yeah, make sure it's what you want to do. It's when you get out in the real world, I guess it's a lot different from when you're doing plays with your just your friends or community theater. It becomes a job, and it's really professional, and you still have a lot of fun, but it becomes a work atmosphere, and they're there to get a job done, and they're going to do it. So make sure it's really what you want to go into. Audition. It doesn't hurt you to audition. Even if you don't get the part you're going for, auditions are always good. It gets you experience. I would suggest coming down to Disney if you're interested in that. They have what's called a CT status. It's casual temporary, and they hire a lot of extra people for busy seasons such as summer or Christmas, and it's a real good experience just to come down for the summer. If you're out of school, high school kids can, as long as you're old enough to work, they'll take you on. So.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting me get to talk to you. It was a pleasure.
No problem.
So.
It's great.
Okay. Thanks for watching Spotlight on Port Huron, and have a nice day.